And I challenge, that's right, I challenge the Toronto Police, who have been at least gracious enough to admit that the law prohibits them from charging people. But like Dad leaning over your shoulder when he's refused to acknowledge you've already moved out, the police have said they'll take people's marijuana. That is unlawful. That is not lawful conduct for the police to take your marijuana. You cannot be detained for marijuana in Ontario. You cannot have your marijuana seized. You can own plants like that because it is for your personal use, and the court did not distinguish between cultivation and personal possession. Simply that cannabis is not in the law as we know it today in the province of Ontario. So here's to your freedom. Here's to all Canadians who will benefit by your freedom as the courts inevitably, through the Equality Clause of the Charter of Rights, will in fact enact this decision all across Canada this summer. So, 3 cheers for for Superior Court Justice Stephen Rogan. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! And let us not forget the lawyer that was able to point out a full year and a half after the Court of Appeal in the year 2001 made it so that on July 31st, 2001, there was no marijuana law. But it was a full 18 months before it was actually acknowledged by anyone in the legal establishment. 3 cheers for Brian McAllister, a lawyer from Windsor, Ontario, who has shepherded this to the Superior Court of Ontario. 3 cheers for Brian McAllister. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! And to our freedom! The healing herb is a religious sacrament in 5 religions throughout the planet. It is a plant that is grown in every village, every hamlet, every city, every country on earth. Over 160 million people on this planet smoke marijuana, and over 500,000 at any one time are in jail.
I got
more
419.
token, less talking.
Countdown.
We're not giving up.
All right.
Why can't they use marijuana?
Heads up to that.
Turn around here, Mark.
And you must know, too, that you have support in all areas of walks of life. At Idea City, I have met scientists, politicians, artists, filmmakers, and many of them have expressed to me, and including those who have been on stage there to speak, have said they have solidarity with us in our struggle, and it is a struggle. There are still people getting arrested every 6 minutes in Canada for marijuana offenses. Every 6 minutes, somebody gets rousted, somebody gets detained, somebody's home is invaded by flak-jacketed, gun-wielding policemen who want to take our beloved plants away and criminalize us.
7, 6, 5,
It's
4, 3, 2, 1.
It's 420! Celebrate your freedom! Yes.
Mark, you're the man.
Well, how did I do that?
You actually helped me by sending me some money
Oh,
to
you
go to
watch Pod TV, and I hope you are involved in our organization's work, and I want to thank you all for coming. And I trust if the police wanted to apprehend our pot, they could have done so. And I think perhaps it's wise that the police have decided, I guess, to ignore the demonstration and let us conduct our free, lawful expression of cannabis culture right here.
All right. We're learning, Mark. We're learning.
Oh, because it is legal in Ontario, so if I lived here, I wouldn't need to run right now. And but the thing is, liberty has to be worked on at all times to be preserved. There's obviously a lot of reactive elements in Parliament that will be anxious to even reconvene early. to recriminalize marijuana. And you know, it's emotional issues like this one that can get Parliament to do something like that, return early. But that's why it's up to the people of Ontario who are smoking marijuana who can now do so free of fear, and that's very important. The fact that it's not unlawful means paraphernalia is not unlawful anymore. It means all sorts of things that people haven't thought of. That means people can open clubs that cater to marijuana smokers without any fear of arrest. In fact, you can't legally deny a business license to anybody who allows marijuana smoking because it's not illegal. So it has a whole domino effect. It affects municipal bylaws, provincial bylaws. The DARE program can no longer go in and refer to marijuana as an illegal drug when they go to schools. Students, in fact, are allowed to possess marijuana at any time, anywhere in Ontario. And no one can say you can't bring marijuana into a public facility. You can't light it in a public facility because smoking all substances is against the law. But since marijuana is no longer regulated in any way whatsoever, it was directly suspended from any law, then there's no regulation on marijuana. So it becomes a commodity akin to lettuce or tomatoes, which you can carry anywhere. And it's akin to tobacco in the sense of smoking in public places. And I've consulted with all the lawyers on this, and I've read the decision, and it is very, very clear. There's absolutely no reason for any police department to be vague about this law. The government tried to go to the Court of Appeal to stay, and the Court of Appeal denied that stay, meaning they repudiated the police and the Ministry of Justice, or sorry, the cabinet in charge of the Ministry of Justice, cabinet minister in charge of the Ministry of Justice. That person tried to get the law stayed, and they were unsuccessful. So the court's clearly sending a message that people are allowed to possess marijuana. They can do anything with marijuana. And no other bylaw is effective now because it has to deal with marijuana as an illegal substance. So previous municipal bylaws that said paraphernalia cannot be sold or put in window displays, that's all struck down. Those are now pipes for legal consumption of a legal product. And it affects every level of government. Federal law will be affected by it, where it applies to people in marijuana smoking. The people in prison will be able to get marijuana legally if they require, with no effort whatsoever, because it is perfectly legal. The prisons won't be able to stop people from using marijuana inside a prison. So people have to understand this has incredible implications for every aspect of our way of life. All those terrible punishments that everybody in the marijuana community had to endure and deal with are all over. And we can sue the police if they don't obey this law, even if it's only a law that lasts 5 months, because the earliest Parliament can correct it would be about November 15th. They'd need to be in the House for at least 2 months to go through all the appropriate committees and 3 readings. It hasn't even had its first reading yet. And the Court of Appeal decision, even if they heard it in early August, won't bring its decision back also till November, December. So it's a certainty that marijuana is absolutely legal in a way unlike anywhere else in the Western world, where at least in every other case it's regulated to some small degree, like in Holland, but it's no longer regulated, and every other law that hinges upon marijuana being criminal are wrong and will be struck down as void also in every community.
Can you just start the propaganda just explain to me again why you guys are here?
Well, I'm here to demonstrate because Chief Constable Fantino said that although they wouldn't charge anybody, which is a correct interpretation of the law, there is no charging going on or possible after the May 16th decision. But further, he added, though, that he would take people's marijuana if an officer came upon it. And that is wrong, because marijuana is now a lawful product. It can be taken anything. This is exactly what Toronto would need to have, is that in the face of all these terrible things that have happened in Toronto, SARS obviously, but is that this is still the coolest place in the world to be right now. And the most enlightened. So this isn't a negative thing. This is the best thing that ever happened to Toronto, I assure you.
So decriminalization for you, why is that just not
Well,
enough?
decriminalization is what we have now. We're not criminals anymore. I can walk around the street with this plant and I can say it's mine, and I'm allowed to have it.